The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Welcome into the Birds of the Round Table. We are going to break down the best game of the last 8 years, I guess we could say, as the Eagles dominate the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Welcome into the show, everybody. I'm your host, Shane Haff. You can give me a follow on Twitter at Shane Haff NFL. Joined by the full roundtable crew. We've got Dibes. Give him a follow on Twitter at Mr. Crockpot. Dibes, you've had a little bit of time after hosting the post-game show right after the game. How are you feeling, man?
Feel good, man. It still has not hit me. I don't think it's going to really hit me until like a week or two from now. But it was all three phases coming together and just whooping some Chiefs ass. I'm here for all of it. It's going to be a fun show.
All right, absolutely. Also joined by Ryan Reese. Give him a follow on Twitter at Philly Sports PSA. Ryan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fan-friggin-tastic. I couldn't be happier. I couldn't feel more vindicated. I couldn't feel more just better than every other set of fans in the NFL. I'm on cloud nine. This is unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. Second time in 8 years. It's a lot of fun, especially when you're avenging a Super Bowl loss from a couple years ago.
Oh, I am.
Also joined by David. Give him a follow on Twitter at PHL Eagle News. David, how you doing, man?
Doing great, man. I think we witnessed the most dominating win possibly in Eagles history, definitely in Eagles Super Bowl history. It was amazing. I know we're going to get into all the details of it, but it's one of the greatest beatdowns in Eagles folklore, man. This is going down in Eagles folklore. I mean, this is one of the greatest nights ever.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to break it all down. Man, you would think I would have an idea of where to start with a couple of days to think about it, but I don't even know where we want to start. It almost feels like, as I say, it almost feels like we got to switch it up and talk defense first, don't we?
I prefer defense.
All right, well, let's do it. Dibes, I'll throw it to you first. Give me your top defensive takeaway from this game.
It's so hard. I mean, it was, again, all three phases. It was complete and utter domination. The Eagles had more points than the Chiefs had yards at one point. Kansas City had 1.2 yards per play and 1 first down. Travis Kelce had 0 receptions for the first time in a postseason half. Patrick Mahomes' completion percentage was lower than his pressure rate per next-gen stats. And despite never blitzing, at one point, if you take out garbage time, they pressured Mahomes on like 52% of his dropbacks, which is just absurd. You saw Jalen Carter get double-teamed by the likes of Creed Humphrey and Josh Sweat, Milton Williams. They made their bag. They combined for 5.5 sacks. And I don't think we saw Vic Fangio do a lot of things differently. Shane, you could argue with that. They ran a lot of zone. And they kind of just won over and over and over again in all phases, especially defensively. With Carter getting double teamed, they just won every single matchup you could imagine. Shane, you put out some amazing tweets of like Quinyon Mitchell against Xavier Worthy. Like Quinyon did such a great job. And all of that just put Patrick Mahomes in a blender. It made him hold on to the ball for 3.3 seconds per pass. Patrick Mahomes is now 1-4 in the playoffs when it takes longer than 3.6 seconds to throw, 3.26 seconds to throw. It was his 5th worst game of his career, according to success rate, his 4th worst game of his career, according to EPA per play. The Eagles pass rush was god tier. The coverage was sticky. There weren't a lot of open throws from Mahomes. It got him to throw to the middle of the field and, risk it for the biscuit. And the Eagles made him pay. The Cooper DeJean pick 6, the Zach Bond interception. It was just complete and utter domination.
Yeah, it was domination from whistle to whistle. And, I wish this is where I wish we could watch games in like all 22, because I was nervous on the halftime show still. As good as they'd looked, as like the Chiefs are going to figure something out, if the offense stalls, like all that fear. watching the all-22, like it's so clearly obvious in the first half the Chiefs have no chance. Like there was nothing. There was nowhere. Shout out to the whole defense. Secondary so well coached. The pass rush just dominated the game, and I think you could make a pretty strong argument that one of the worst coaching decisions of the season was the Chiefs deciding to kick Joe Thuney out to left tackle, because they took a guy who was the best left guard, the best interior offensive lineman probably in the NFL. He's number one in pass block win rate. He was allowing a pressure on 1.8% of passing snaps at left guard, and they kicked him out to left tackle where he allowed over a 10% pressure rate. And the new interior offensive line without him was the fourth worst in the NFL in pressure rate from week 15 on. And so like they killed their run game. They created major issues for themselves everywhere. And the Eagles just exploited it over and over. I think that was a terrible decision by them. And we saw that play out, all over on Sunday. And, also shout out to, maybe this is what the game could have looked like 2 years ago if we played on a football field instead of an ice skating rink. But Ryan, I'll throw it to you next. What's your biggest defensive takeaway?
Yeah, it's that you guys make a great point about the line, and it seemed obviously both offensively and defensively, their focus is kind of what did them in. They focused a little too much. Also called the blowout as well, by the way. So I think they focused a little too much on Jalen Carter. And they were just so scared of Jalen Carter wreaking havoc that they wanted to make sure they double teamed him at all costs at all times. And all that did was open up the floodgates for the rest of the D line. I mean, Josh Sweat arguably had one of his best days as an Eagle. Milton Williams had a great game. Jalix Hunt got in on the action. Nolan Smith was in Mahomes' face all game long. I mean, Brandon Grant certainly got his licks in as well. I just think they hyper focused on Jalen Carter, and it seemed like stat-wise that Jalen Carter didn't really do much. But the fact of the matter is he was taking on two players. He was still pressuring Mahomes and, again, allowing the rest of the line. And I think that is ultimately what did them in, considering that they did not blitz a single time. Fangio was like, I didn't start out like that. I didn't think that's how it was going to go, but they just kept getting pressure. And there were a couple of times where I was going to do it, but I figured out, let's let it ride. And he did. They didn't blitz once, and they had a great game. Mahomes was absolutely in a blender. He didn't know what to do. That's 100% the sole reason why we were able to shut them out basically for the entire game, with the exception of some garbage, points. So,
can you imagine if I had come on a show last offseason after the collapse and told you that the Eagles would sign a priority free agent and pay him $17 million and he would be inactive, that their top linebacker would be an edge rusher, and
or
somehow
their top linebacker free agent would be cut before the season.
Yeah, well, I did kind of tell people that, but that's beside the point.
Me too.
People
You
hated that.
know what I mean.
Yeah.
But his two biggest swings, Howie's two biggest swings, didn't work out. But everything else did.
It's incredible. Incredible. David, what about you? What's your big defensive takeaway?
I'll answer the two questions. One, I got my shirt at the Eagles Pro Shop the day after the Super Bowl. I waited in a freaking cold ass line.
Baby.
Mine's coming in like a month.
I got mine before they even got the Super Bowl trophy, baby. I was already at Dick's Sporting Goods, and I got mine immediately that night.
I was gonna get one of the hats. I don't really like the hats.
I don't like any of them.
Yeah, I didn't buy it either.
So I'm gonna wait and hope some cooler merch comes out, because
same.
The black with the gray wasn't really doing it for me.
I like the hoodie. I got the hoodie.
$500. Yeah, I have about $500.
They didn't have the hoodies at the pro shop yet.
Yeah,
just long sleeve and t-shirts.
The only thing that got me was the hoodies.
And the other question about why I mentioned last week about wanting the Chiefs. Well, for one, if you're the best team in football, you want to beat the best team in football. And that's who they were. That's who they wanted to play. Before the Eagles beat the Commanders, I was lucky enough to be in the locker room the week before that, and all of the players wanted the Commanders. And everybody else who didn't say they wanted the Commanders said they wanted the Chiefs. Those were the two teams that they wanted to kick the crap out of, and that's what they did. And back to what Ryan was saying about Fangio, the week after the Eagles lost Super Bowl 57, I wrote that, they kept pressuring Patrick Mahomes, and they shouldn't have, because he gets rid of the ball faster than anybody in the league. And at that time, he led the league in getting rid of the ball and not taking sacks when being blitzed back then. But this performance was the best in Eagles history. I know somebody's going to say 1960 or whatever. Okay, yeah, they won 7-0, 14-0 in an era where people didn't put up 40 points a week. They just annihilated who many believe was the best offensive mind and best quarterback in the game right now. KC had 7 possessions in the first half that ended with 5 punts and 2 picks. This would be impressive against any Super Bowl team, but this was Mahomes and Andy Reid. The score was 34-0 in the third quarter, late in the third quarter. And at halftime, the Eagles had 24 points and the Chiefs had 23. Last week on the show, Shane and I had mentioned about the Eagles using cover 4. Well, they used it almost 60% in this game, which is the third highest rate by a team, according to next gen stats, in like 6-7 years. And when you can defend the run and bring pressure with the 4-man front, it is extremely difficult for a quarterback to throw on a defense when they're in 2 high safeties, and it befuddled Mahomes all night long. This defense dominated with a +12 differential during the playoffs. They manhandled every single opponent, and they ended with 92 pressures and 55 sacks this postseason, and that's insane.
It's even nicer when you don't have to even worry about defending the run, because the other team just decides it'd be a good idea to not call a run play ever.
Yeah, that's our old friend Andy Reid right there. He went back to some bad tendencies. And I knew they were done in the third quarter when I saw the Andy heavy leaning over, heavy breathing walk, staring down at his shoes. You knew it was over right then, man. We watched that for 14 years in Philly. It was over right then.
I like this comment. Cooper DeJean is better than sliced bread.
Can you imagine, like, being a rookie, playing in a Super Bowl, your rookie season on your birthday, and then getting a pick 6 of Patrick Mahomes? Like, what an incredible moment for Cooper DeJean. And it was such a good play by him too.
Amazing.
To read Mahomes and fall back under that dig route. And man, he was awesome. Quignon, everybody was awesome. There was a play that just kind of blew my mind when I was rewatching the All 22 today. It was the first third down of the game. The Eagles came out in dime, and they just played like cover 1 and rotated Reed Blankenship directly at Travis Kelce, who, by the way, Cooper DeJean just smacked the crap out of at the line of scrimmage. And so that was impressive. But then you have Isaiah Rodgers, like, navigating through traffic, covering a wheel route that they were trying to hit. Just when you got a guy like Isaiah Rodgers that you never play dime, and you bring him off the bench on the first third down of the Super Bowl, and he's able to do that, it's like, man, it was just meant to be. And the Eagles defense was it was incredible. There's no other way to say it.
Shane, is this the best 3-play sequence in Eagles history?
I already know what you're going to show.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
sack pick.
Yes. I hope we don't get taken down here, but I'm going to fast forward it. The Josh Sweat sack, the Jalen Hunt sack, and then the
Cooper got credit for a full.
Yeah, that's BS. And then the Cooper DeJean pick.
Yeah.
Like this moment was when I knew the Chiefs were done. We said it during the halftime show. Like my vibe was Patrick Mahomes was shook like in the second quarter, but when this happened, this was it for the Chiefs. It
broke their spirit.
This was it. Yeah,
it broke their spirit.
This is the arguably right there with the hurdle in terms of best play of the season.
And shout out to Jalen Hunt with his bow shot there from LJ Smith like 20 years ago when they played the Chiefs. I mean, that was incredible knowledge by Jalen Hunt there, because I don't think many people knew where that came from, but that was really good to dial that up.
Yeah, how about Jalen Hunt too? There were several times in this game that Jalen Hunt just like put Joe Thuney on skates, which, by the way, Joe Thuney's just not a left tackle.
By the way,
no.
Exhibit A, keep Cooper DeJean in the slot for 2025. Yes. Keep him in the slot. I don't want to see him on the outside. He is the best cornerback in the NFL right there at his role in the slot. With how much
Didn't he rate the best? PFF?
He's PFF's number one rated cornerback. Yeah. I don't want to see any nonsense this offseason about moving him, period.
I now object
by the way, I was
citing team, PFF grades, by the way.
Yeah. I was team he's a safety, and I was dead wrong. He is a slot corner. Let him dominate there.
I think he would be great at safety. I think he'd be great outside, but
he'd be great.
He needs to stay in the nickel because it's such an important position, the way that Fangio plays defense, and it impacted what the Eagles were able to do so much this season. So yeah, I mean, even if Slay is gone next year, which I don't know, he might be gone next year. Even if, you leave Cooper DeJean in the slot, you don't bump him outside, in my opinion.
Yep.
So, okay. Other defensive takeaways. I guess we got to talk Zach Bond interception too. That was an awesome play. I can't believe he caught that. And also I thought it was really smart of him to just stay on the ground. You just made a diving catch and guys are closing in. There's no room to run. The thing just triggered in my head where they talked about how Nick Sirianni preaches trying to punch the ball out from a guy that just got up off the ground after it happened. Was that the Washington game that happened in? I think it was.
Yeah.
I picture that just being in his head, and he's like, I got nowhere to go. I'm just going to stay on the ground and keep the ball. And he doesn't try to jump up and doesn't expose the ball. So I thought that was really cool heads up play by him too, but that was a really good catch.
Yeah.
There were so many great little moments too. No, we'll get to it afterwards, after the offense. But
July 22nd, Marshawn.
Training camp.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I've already had people asking me today, what do you think about this guy for OC? Who the Eagles going to get for OC is don't care. I will be spending a full week watching all 22 and making videos on the Super Bowl. I already did a full offense rewatch with Johnny today. We're going to do a full defense rewatch tomorrow. I got past game videos to make. I got a lot more to do than speculate about OCs right now, but I'll get there eventually.
Anthony DeBona had a full breakdown on the next offensive coordinator. Just what a beast.
I mean, it's going to be Kevin Petula, but
it's Petula. Yeah.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready for that discussion.
Yeah, that's who it's going to be. And so it doesn't really matter what I think about anybody else. But
too bad Chip Kelly already signed with the Raiders.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
No.
No, I can't.
Oh man. All right. Any other big defensive takeaways you guys want to shout out before we hop over to the offense?
Warren Burks for me, man.
Yeah, Warren Burks. That's
really
a good
well.
one.
Yeah.
He played a hell of a game.
He was in 47 covered snaps and only allowed 27 yards. And then, like you said, Jalen Hunt. I mean, who would have thought this when he got drafted? The draft night, we all did this show together. Would you have ever imagined he would have meaningful snaps in a Super Bowl 6 months down the road? I mean, he contributed with the second most pressures of the night. He had half a sack. He had a QB hit. I mean, he applied pressure on 41% of the defensive snaps he was on the field, which is just crazy. I mean, he's a former safety, and boy, you could see his speed last night, 2 nights ago, whatever it was. I still don't even. What's Tuesday? Yeah, 2 nights ago. I mean, it's unbelievable, man. And
I liked the pick because I know how Fangio likes to drop edges, and I like the athletic. Same reason I like Nolan Smith. I just like hyper athletic guys, but I never in my wildest dreams would have. I thought he would have been a game day inactive all year. I never would have dreamed he would have been playing. Not only playing, but playing really well in a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think we all pretty much said when he got drafted, that it was going to be a project. And yeah, I
It was
don't
not.
think. Yeah, I don't. Well, it certainly wasn't as long as of a project as any
Well,
of us thought. It took
Yeah,
him a little bit, but
Yeah.
he got in there, and once he started getting some minutes, he started getting comfortable, and he picked it up real quick. And again, the minutes he played shows you exactly what they think of him. So
You can tell Ryan's getting into basketball mode because he's referring to it as the minutes he played instead of the snaps he played. It's like he got some minutes.
the funny thing about me, I really don't like basketball at all.
Put up a double-double.
Jalen Hunt. I mean, I thought he flashed the ability to set an edge from the preseason on. I remember talking about Jalen Hunt maybe needing to play more than Nolan Smith during the preseason. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
And Jalen Hunt had 9 pressures and 2 sacks, 5 hurries, 4 tackles, and 6 run stops during the last 3 games. That's amazing. It's truly remarkable what Vic Fangio is getting out of these guys. And if Howie Roseman, I know it's the offseason, but if he's able to continue to pump out these amazing draft picks, man, we could be set up for just an unbelievable defense these next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Just got to get Zach Bond signed. Man.
Period. Whatever it takes. That man is not allowed to leave Philadelphia. Absolutely.
I would hope that both sides of the table understand that Philadelphia is the place that is going to get the best out of Zach Bond. So I would hope that Zach Bond's not going to come to the tables, wanting an exorbitant amount of money to the point where Howie obviously still wants to make sure he gets paid. But he'll also do his Howie thing and stretch it and spend the money, hide it under the bookshelf, like whatever. Like I don't know what he does with it, but he figures some great way to get that money deferred.
What's he worth? Is he like $15 million a year? Like what do you think his value?
I would think so. He could easily get $15 million on the open market.
I'd be stunned if he gets $15 million a year in Philly, but I'll leave it at that.
Well, I said open market. I said open market. I said open market.
Spot Track does their stuff where they do like free agent valuations.
I'm at 8 and 9.
And of course now I can't find it.
That'd be the steal of the century, man.
Boo.
I'll find it.
Way to go, Shane.
I looked at it. Oh, they put it all behind a paywall now. That's so lame.
What?
I checked it earlier.
A paywall?
I checked. Yeah, Spot Track Premium now. That's lame. They used to have when I checked it earlier. Oh no. Well, here's another one. Okay, this is different, but they have their calculated market value at $9.7 million. He's going over
right.
that.
You do whatever.
If his agent comes to you and says we want to beat the Patrick Queen deal, which was $13.6 million, you doing it?
I am team whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I don't care what the money is. He's earned every penny. He is.
You can clip this. It'll be 8-9 million if he's in Philly. He is not getting anywhere near that.
Oh yeah, listen,
he might on a 5-year deal with dummy years, and he's getting $5 million. When he's 36, but yeah, he's not getting that here.
No, not here. I agree with you.
I will picket Howie's office myself if Zach Bond walks in free agency. I don't care about any other free agent. Milton Williams can walk. Micaiah Becton can walk. Isaiah Rodgers can walk. Zach Bond better be in Philly next year.
Yeah,
I'm going to be
he
upset.
better be. And I could see it being around 10 in Philly.
Yeah. Roto Stud says, "Who is each of your standout defensive players?"
The whole damn team.
The whole damn team. I mean, I said this last night. For me, Nolan Smith, he didn't get a sack 2 nights ago, but still, like what he does to set the edge, the physicality, the motor, his ability against the pass rush, and against the pass and the run, like he's just the total package. How many pressures did he have? Like 4, something around there. But I thought in general for the postseason, Nolan Smith, man, just proved everything to me.
Did you guys see this play, Nolan Smith against a puller?
It's insane.
He just blew him up.
Look at that.
Yes. Good night.
And then did you see him and the video of him like crediting Vic Fangio at the end of the game?
He said that old man got knowledge.
total team player, man. I cannot wait to see what a full year of Nolan Smith looks like.
Dude, him. I don't know if you saw the clip of him. Just he was going off on Brandon Graham, like hyping him up, like, yeah, like this is the OG, this is 2-time Super Bowl. Like the amount of like love and just personality that finally came out of Nolan Smith, because he's been very like, quiet and close to the vest and not really like crazy outspoken, but man, he was wilding about his love for Brandon Graham. It was really awesome to see.
He's hidden that because he is extremely outspoken. He is full out. And my favorite thing he said last night or 2 nights ago was after he won the Super Bowl, he said, it's really great that this is my first Super Bowl. That man's on a mission. He didn't say the Super Bowl. He said, this is my first Super Bowl. And to the question, Jordan Davis needs a shout out. We haven't even discussed him. He was great,
he had
man.
Great playoffs, honestly. Playoffs. He had a great
TFL, QB hit, sack. All the Georgia dogs just showed out, man. I mean, it was crazy.
I like the Vic Fangio quote that started coming back up now of when he first met with the Eagles players. Did you guys remember that? When he told him, it's not your fault you don't work hard, but that's going to change now that I'm here. It's like, and this is the guy that Miami ran off, and hopefully they enjoyed their early, vacations this year. But he's just, he clicked. And it's so funny that like, you would think maybe he would click more with like a veteran locker room, older guys versus like the youth the Eagles have. And it was just like, it was a perfect fit. And I also heard that like after the game, everybody was celebrating and he like walked in and like shook hands with guys and then left. And he was probably in his office watching film at like 5 a.m. this morning. But I love Vic Fangio so much. I'm so glad the Eagles finally got him. I am not going to go back and retweet all the people that were telling me that was such a bad hire this offseason. But you know who you were.
Yes.
But Vic Fangio is incredible.
Has Vic Fangio hit Jeff Stoutland tier?
Yes.
You guys?
Yeah. He took the 31st ranked defense and turned them into the first ranked defense. It is the greatest one season improvement in NFL history. He, to me, is absolutely in the same thing category as Stoutland. Lifetime contracts, blank checks, write whatever you want, stay till you die.
I feel like we're going to be saying in Vic Fangio we trust a lot this offseason.
I mean, Vic Fangio was on that level for me years ago. I've always loved Vic Fangio.
Yeah. I vividly remember before the season, like, this is going to test our patience because, like, the bend don't break philosophy, all that kind of stuff of years past, like, it didn't really work last year. And I remember talking about it during the preseason. Man, defensive standouts has got to be Cooper DeJean. I mean, he is just such a chess piece, such a weapon. His ability to tackle, his ability to drop back in coverage, the physicality, the instincts. I mean, what he's able to do has just opened up so much for Vic Fangio's defense. For the fourth time, shout out to Cooper DeJean.
And one last one to Avonte Maddox for surprising the hell out of everybody here when we all did a double take that he was the one who knocked that ball away and put down.
It was amazing.
Everybody was like, wait, what?
Yeah, my reaction was like, why is Avonte on the field? Like, what did I miss?
I know. I was like, oh my God. That's called what I knew the Eagles were winning the Super Bowl, because you can't get any better than that. I'm telling you that.
More shocking, Avonte making a play like that or Jahan Dotson this post.
No, Avonte, because Jahan Dotson at least gets one decent catch every game. And he got his where he, unfortunately didn't score that touchdown, but he might as well have. But yeah. Maddox used to be a dog.
I was glad to see Maddox get his moment because I was a big Avonte Maddox fan, and
Same.
I hate that. I mean, we can call a spade a spade. Injuries derailed his career, because he was such a good player for the Eagles early until injuries started piling up. So I was really happy to see him get his moment. I don't need him on the team next year, but I was glad he got that in the Super Bowl and gets a ring in Philly. He's a guy that I'm glad he was here for this.
Keely or Isaiah Rodgers on the outside if D Slay leaves.
Keely.
You know I want Keely, but
Rodgers is a free agent.
Yeah, also true.
I think he's a good candidate to bring back.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, it depends on what he wants, but yeah. So, but we got plenty of time to get into that. Let's dive over to the offensive side of the ball now, and let's talk offensive takeaways. And not to take shots at any particular organization, cough the ringer, cough. But pretty funny to, have Jalen Hurts ranked below a guy like Aaron Rodgers or Geno Smith or Kyler Murray after this season. And then have some of your analysts get on Twitter and start talking crap about Eagles fans, taking victory laps about Jalen Hurts. So the discourse around Jalen Hurts is so stupid, and it has been for so long. Make him beat you. Just make him beat you with his arm. Saquon Barkley rushed for 2.3 yards per carry. The Eagles running backs had a 12% rushing success rate. And Jalen Hurts had the highest EPA per drop back of any quarterback in this millennium in the Super Bowl. So I don't want to hear the crap anymore. I'm not saying that Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback. I'm saying the discourse around him as if he's a bottom 10 quarterback is asinine. And if anybody tries to tell you that, you should delete their podcast from your feed. You should block them on Twitter because they're sticking to priors and don't have a clue what they're actually looking at when they watch a football game happen. So that's my offensive takeaway. Shout out to Jalen Hurts for playing the game of his career, which was directly after the other game of his career against Washington. And this should be his second Super Bowl ring if the Eagles had a defensive coordinator in 2022, because he played this well. He outplayed Mahomes in that game too. So shout out to Jalen Hurts. That's my offensive takeaway. Ryan, what do you got for us?
Obviously, I want to talk about Kenny Gainwell now. I'm just kidding. I was half rooting for Gainwell to start doing some things, just to because honestly, I think I was so comfortable that the Eagles were winning that I needed some, I needed some anxiety. I'm normally watching a game with anxiously and stressing, and I didn't have anything to stress about. I was calm, cool, collected, going right up the whole week, going right to the day, to the game, in the game, after the game, didn't matter. I was cool. So I think I was partly rooting for Gainwell to return a punt or score random 3 touchdowns and get that Super Bowl MVP. But sadly, no tattoo for me. But my offensive takeaway is that Jalen Hurts is a freaking winner, and I know, Krabby. Listen, Jalen Hurts is just plain and simple a winner, and as Shane kind of mentioned, with the ringer and the disrespect, the Nick Wrights of the world and the Chris Sims of the world and everybody who loves to pile on the Eagles, loves to pile on Nick and loves to pile on Jalen. And what does Jalen do? Jalen doesn't, come out there and say the things you want him to say. He doesn't do the things you want him to do. He doesn't play the game the way that you want him to play, but he wins. And he's one of the winningest quarterbacks in the NFL since he's been a starter. And he's now a Super Bowl champion. So I want to know is, again, I know it's fresh, but, give it a couple of months. And I guarantee you're still going to see people with the disrespect. It might not be as disrespectful, but they're still going to be out there because, again, that's just the way the world works for the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts. And all Jalen Hurts did was outperform Mahomes in yet another Super Bowl. The man was absolutely amazing, with the exception of obviously the one play where there was a little bit of a botched protection issue. Guy got right in his face. He chucked it. Whatever. It happened. It was as good as a punt. But other than that play, I thought he was great. He was looking around. He was finding AJ. He was finding Devontae. Freaking Barkley got involved in the passing game quite a bit when the run game clearly wasn't working. But I love the fact that they didn't stay away from it. They kept going to it just to keep the Chiefs honest. But honestly, the fact that he was utilizing his legs beautifully. I think he's had a masterful last couple of games, a great set of playoffs, and ends the game as the MVP. And I couldn't have been happier for him to get this, and for him to, again, not that he ever would, but to let his game and to let this win. Tell all of the haters and all of the doubters and all of the people that just love to rag on Jalen to shut the hell up and go crawl under a rock, So Jalen Hurts is the story offensively. The man absolutely did a fantastic job. What a great day offensively.
Yeah, absolutely. David, what do you have on the offense?
I think the best two offensive game plans of the season ended up being in the two biggest games of the year. Kellen Moore cooked in his new home stadium, man. I mean, he was unbelievable. Jalen read the defense perfectly. The offense had a scheme and play dialed up for every single look. He played a near perfect game. He broke his own record of rushing yards by a quarterback with 72 in this one, breaking his old record of 70. Jalen has 6 postseason wins, right, at 26 years old. I mean, that's pretty impressive. He's been the best player on the field in both Super Bowls. He's outplayed Patrick Mahomes all 3 times they faced one another. And I don't think it's hyperbole to start saying Jalen Hurts is currently on a Hall of Fame trajectory. But to continue going with Saquon Barkley, he was obviously the focal point of the defensive game plan for Kansas City, their desire to force Jalen Hurts to beat him, and that's what he did. But Saquon kept pounding the rock, kept them in that defensive alignment, and then Barkley put on a clinic of how to play pass pro as a running back. I mean, he drilled players all night to keep Jalen Hurts' jersey clean. He's an ultimate professional. Even on a night when the opposition sold out to take him out of the game, he still found a way to make a huge difference in pass pro. And he had 6 receptions for 40 yards. I mean, he was absolutely amazing in that game, and I think that's the kind of professionalism out of the position that you get when you pay for a top tier running back. You have a selfless player who's not just in it for stats, just like Hurts isn't. This is a guy who wants to win. And my favorite thing Hurts said after the Super Bowl was when it's all said and done, I won't measure my success off of any numbers or statistics. I'm measuring it all on rings and championships. And every person in that locker room believes it. Saquon gave up a chance to break the all-time record because he believes it. And that is what is long-standing with this team to me, and that's why they'll compete for another Super Bowl next year.
Absolutely. Well said, David. Dibes, anything that you want to add in on that?
You're
You're
muted.
We should just let him see how long he goes.
Oh my God.
It would be a while. It would be a while.
It would be a while. That'd be so funny.
I would never do that to him because earlier this season, I recorded like a 32-minute pass game review where I'm drawing on the screen and everything. And I got to the end and I realized that my mic was muted the whole time and I had to re-record it. That was a terrible day.
Nooms, I just brought up Nolan Smith. We just talked about him. Go back like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But anyway, can I say Nick Sirianni? Like, I feel like we need to bring up Nick Sirianni. I know he doesn't really do the offense that much, but he turned the offense over to Kellen Moore. He focused on rebuilding an elite locker room culture. He focused on leaning heavily into his core values, and he got all 53 to buy in. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why we are here right now. His ability to connect with the players on this roster is truly something special. His ability to get all 53 to set aside their own stats and accomplishments and play for their teammates, play for that next man, play for that dude next to you above all else is truly special. Again, he might not call the plays, but what he does for the team is far more important. Again, I called myself out how many times? I want to make it clear. I was not his biggest fan. I was his biggest critic during the off season. But since the bye week, man, I mean, he got out of his own way. He allowed his coordinators to do their thing, and it turned the team around. And he gets the most out of his players. He knows how to bring players together. He knows how to deliver a message. Yeah, he's quirky, but he knows how to empower others. Everyone thinks of a great leader as a person that can do everything themselves, but I think a true leader empowers those below them. I don't think we give Nick Sirianni enough credit because all the talk about Nick not doing anything, what does he really do? What is a CEO of a football team? That's the way Nick wants it. He creates that because it's if that's what happens and it's about the other guy, that's what Nick wants. And Nick says you can't be great without the greatness of others. Like David said, Nick is the tide that lifts all boats. And I've just been blown away at his empowerment of this roster. You see guys like A.J. Brown and C.J. Gardner-Johnson truly embrace him. And I throw this clip up of Mekhi Becton going from a New York Jets culture to this culture. Look at his fucking face. Look at that. Just look at that. That is the culture of this Eagles roster on and off the football field. It is something special. And I belittled it and I look like an idiot, but that's okay because we are Super Bowl champions.
Yeah,
Shane,
absolutely.
Shane, do you have anything else to add to his pseudo apology to Nick?
Oh, I've done my Nick Sirianni
That
thing.
was a formal apology, Ryan. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done my Nick Sirianni thing earlier this year, but yeah, I mean, I want to
do it again if you want.
Yeah, I thought they should have moved on from him this last offseason and the turnaround that they've had, and I think it takes a lot of. I think we all think, and we don't know, but I think we all think that he was pretty involved in the offense last year. And I think it takes a lot of humility to realize that's not working and step back and hand that off. I think it's the same thing with like Jalen Hurts. The first 4 weeks of the season weren't good. He was putting the ball in harm's way too much. And you have some honest conversations during the bye week that I'm sure Nick had to initiate. And you come out of the bye week with a different sort of offense, and Jalen Hurts being okay with that and making his quips about the straitjacket in the NFC Championship game, which I thought was really funny. But it's everything that Dibe said about the players being selfless and the keeping the main thing. And that starts top down, and the Eagles, the culture that the Eagles and winning. Of course, winning smooths it all over. If they were a 9-8 football team this year, maybe there would have been a lot of issues with guys being selfish and outbreaks, but there weren't. And we'll see, how the next few years go. But it was a great year for Sirianni. It's incredible to think that he was legitimately on the hot seat during the bye week. And the only game they lost after that was because their starting quarterback got knocked out in the first quarter. Incredible run for the whole team. Amazing.
Yeah. I think the lesson here to learn from you two up there is you really shouldn't doubt David and I. We wanted Sirianni. We thought it was ridiculous, and we picked the Birds to win every damn game when we both picked the Birds to win by 20 points. That's because I know what we're doing.
Ryan, no offense, but you picked the Eagles. You've picked the Eagles to win every game for 3 years.
And David has done it.
That's
for
not
2.
analysis. That's just fandom, which is fine.
And he's done it for 2. Okay.
If I could add one thing to the culture and all, because I agree with everything all three of you guys said about that. And it starts at the top, though. It's what Jeffrey Lurie wanted. It's what he hired. It's what Howie Roseman spent that year that's so well publicized on the other side of the building. He studied the way culture and good people and cohesiveness in locker rooms across the world on soccer teams, every team, and and he studied it. And this season was a perfect storm of new, mature coordinators. They signed an all-world free agent running back, which they'd never done. A fantastic draft coupled with a change of philosophy to start and play rookies, which they had never done before. It was a masterful coaching job at every level, not just the head coach, but the positional coaches, the DB coach, the linebacker coach. And the cohesion and culture Sirianni brought to the organization was discounted by outsiders, but it was never discounted inside the building. And it is exactly what they wanted to have. And honestly, it's his greatest triumph. Then the result of it is a world championship.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, we have a question. Oh, sorry, Shane.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
We have a question from Rotosted. What's the biggest reason they won a Super Bowl in each of our opinions? Who wants to take it first?
Having the best defense in the NFL.
Period. It was the defense. The four-man pass rush at the end of the day was so dominant that it didn't matter in the end. Like the fact that we said it so many times earlier during a defensive segment, but they didn't blitz, and they were able to collapse the pocket and just get Patrick Mahomes like a half a second hesitation, half a second off. And I have never seen Patrick Mahomes that flustered since he lost in that AFC Championship game years ago. He was just confused. He didn't know what was coming. It's 1,000% the front four, in my opinion.
For me, it would be the Eagles changing their philosophy in the draft defensively over the past couple years, drafting Quinyon, drafting Cooper, drafting Jalen Hunt, and then having the guts to play all three of them. Because in no year in the past has that ever happened.
Well said, David. God damn it.
It's the second
God damn it. That's a great point.
Yeah,
Hold on, Ryan.
And it's more specifically the second part of what you said.
I love that.
It's the no fear to putting them out there.
God damn.
And playing. Because you're right. They really locked up rookies
for years.
For years. Like even if you were in a prominent position, it didn't matter. Like it's unbelievable how that just one little thing, I think, is. I mean, the impact that Coop had after the bye, monumental, and the fact that we had Quinyon in there from day one, starting aside from Slay. I mean, those are 100% the major reasons why this team is where it is right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shane?
Oh, I already said mine. I just said the defense.
I doubled down on the defense. Those are all great.
Saquon's a big.
I want to throw Saquon out there because the gravity he holds on offense is similar to like the gravity that Jalen Carter has on defense. I respect Kellen Moore for continuing with the run, but it set up all those big explosive plays in the pass game. I don't even know what else to say about Saquon. His longest run was like 10 yards.
Yeah.
But how many times this year have we seen him, take away individual accomplishments for the betterment of the Philadelphia Eagles franchise? And again, my favorite memories will not be the explosive plays that we saw every single week. It'll be the blitz pickups we saw all throughout the postseason. It'll be the follow the leader with Jalen Hurts, allowing him to get into the end zone over and over and over again. Saquon Barkley, 6 receptions, the most in his season in the Super Bowl. The guy is just the complete package. You saw him with his fiance and his kids, and he is just like Jalen Hurts, just pure class. And I'm just blown away at these young men.
Yeah. I would say my reason is Howie. I mean, the man continues to do it year after year. He now has 2 world championships with 2 different coaches, 2 different quarterbacks. He has completely rebuilt this team time in and time again when he needs to. And he is on one hell of a heater at the draft these last couple of years. So honestly, I think right now, Howie's probably on his way to a Hall of Fame career here, especially if he gets another one. My God.
He could retire now. I think he's in the Hall.
Yeah, you might be right. Honestly, like he just, the fact of the matter is, no GM has done that before. 2 champions, 2 coaches, 2 quarterbacks. I mean, unheard of.
He's almost the face of the franchise. If you think about it, name the other organizations. Can you name 5 other GMs? I don't know that I can, but I mean, he is literally almost the face of the franchise.
It's amazing. It
truly is.
There's actually people out there that like are Howie Roseman haters too. Like it blows my mind.
Let's be honest. We've all been there with Howie. Howie's had a very roller coaster timeline with us. He's been here forever. We at some point have cursed the name of Howie Roseman.
I agree with this. Jake Elliott.
I can name
far. We talk about special teams. I mean, Brandon brings up a good point. Jake Elliott kicked with anger in the Super Bowl, man.
I mean,
that was the best. Like we could talk about the best performance out of a lot of players in the Super Bowl, but Jake Elliott was better than ever.
I mean, shout out to Jake Elliott, but no, I'm not going to apologize. He missed a crap load of kicks all season. So
I will apologize. I literally put him on the prop bet sheet for missed kicks.
And he missed kicks until this game.
Hey, I got that one right. Woo!
No, we didn't do that one for the Super Bowl.
I'm pretty sure that you will see that he has been fighting through an injury for a very large part of this season that they never wanted to come out with.
Has to be.
I could probably name an embarrassing amount of NFL GMs, but we don't need to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. Jake was 16 points, though. Would he kick 3 field goals over 48 yards? I think it was the first time in Super Bowl history. I think he's second in points for a kicker in Super Bowl history now.
I think he was first.
Yeah, he's first or second. He took out Vinatieri. So the Chiefs kicker might be ahead of him. I don't know what his name is. Butker, whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had 0 points, by the way.
Can you imagine being a kicker and you get to the Super Bowl and it's not that your team didn't ever score, it's that every time they scored, they just went for 2. You never stepped on the field. I guess he does kickoffs, but all right.
Shout out to Jeremiah Trotter Jr. doing his dad's celly after the tackle there, because that was amazing.
Can I also say F the cameraman?
I saw him run up, and I was like, "Dude, he missed it!" Somebody got it.
Somebody got it, and
that was awesome.
Was about to pull it up, but yeah, I immediately freaked out because I saw it happening, and then I was like, "Well, wait a minute! Like, what the heck? Like, where'd it go?" But yes, thank God somebody got there, and even Sidney Brown kind of got in the way a little bit there. But
you see Bond in the background doing it too. It's a really cool moment.
That was a great moment.
Yeah, that was a great moment.
Earlier when I was saying like there's a lot of like little great moments in this, whether it was like AJ Brown pissed off on the sideline and then him being the one that dumps the Gatorade on Nick Sirianni, to Mekhi Becton crying, Devontae Smith having the crying with Jalen. Like there's so many just amazing memories.
Saquon shotgunning a beer in 0.5 seconds.
That was even faster than Ryan.
All right. I don't know. I think we've about covered it. Does anybody have, I guess we'll go to final thoughts here in a second and you guys can fire off any last second things. Before you do, just want to shout out everybody here in the chat, all of you guys watching. Really enjoyed doing this show every Tuesday night, at least for me, every Tuesday night that my son's fall ball schedule didn't interfere with. And that was the whole thing. But really enjoy hanging out with you guys every Tuesday night, far more than my co-hosts here. You guys are why I'm really here. But I know I really enjoy getting to do this. So shout out to you guys for showing up every Tuesday night. And we're going to keep this thing rolling during the off season. So I'm sure there's lots of stuff we will talk about. We'll do a little draft stuff. We'll try to stay away from a ton of draft stuff because the Armchair Scouts are going to be covering a lot of draft stuff, and we're actually about to go record that one. But so hit us up with ideas. We've done all kinds of crazy stuff. We will revisit our over-unders from before the season. I can't promise that'll be next week because I'm not sure I'm going to have time to go back through that footage before next Tuesday. But we will do that. If it's not next week, probably the week after. And if you guys have show ideas, shout us out on Twitter, send us DMs, whatever, and we'll try to do those. But guys, let's throw it around the horn. And David, I'll start off with you here. Final thoughts and plug your stuff, man.
You can follow everything on my X handle at PHL Eagle News or PhillySportsNetwork.com. If you didn't tape it while this show was on, try to find it on the NFL Network. The Eagles Super Bowl mic'd up version just came out, which is amazing. You're going to hear everything that was said on the field during the Super Bowl. So they're replaying that in a few hours if you didn't schedule to record it now. So check that out. But I guess I will leave with the Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Skies are blue. The sun is shining. There's nothing but smiling faces and go bird chants in the city of brotherly love, baby. Go celebrate the big party out there on Broad Street at downtown for the victory parade on Valentine's Day, and go Birds.
All right. Go Birds. Ryan, you are up, man. Final thoughts.
Yeah, this was an incredible season. It started out, a little hopeful, a little bit of a roller coaster with the Atlanta game. And by the time we hit the bye week, I don't think any of us could have ever imagined it would have, the ship would have been righted. So true. And, it's a special moment. I know, again, it's an emotional moment for a lot of fans. The last time that we won, there were, people that were with us that are no longer with us, unfortunately. And, a lot of that, I think for me, kind of hit shortly after the game, that they aren't here with us. So this one, certainly for anybody out there who has lost somebody, especially a big Birds fan, this one's for them. And I know that they are celebrating up there. And, the fact that, the parade is now on Valentine's Day. It couldn't be better. I now have over 1 million Valentine's Day dates lined up. So if you're going to be out there, you happen to run into me, let me know. Give me a big hug because I'll give you a big one back. But thank you to everybody in the chat. You guys are 100%, the reason for this show, and you make it fun and hilarious. And they're curtains, damn it. They're curtains, okay? They're not shower curtains. They're just regular curtains.
Wait, what was the last word in that? Not they're curtains, not shower curtains.
Yeah, apparently there's a difference. So anyway, but anyway, I'll see everybody at the parade, and go friggin' Birds.
Go Birds. Dives, what do you have? Final thoughts, man.
Final thoughts, just what a special season. Again, this is not just the best Eagles team of all time. It's top 5 NFL team ever assembled by Howie Roseman, led by Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni. You look at the culture, not just the play on the field and how elite they are position by position, but you look at the culture and what this team believes in. They believe in the guy sitting next to them. They believe in faith. They believe, period. And this isn't over. There's no way this team is not set up for another Super Bowl run for the next 2-3 years. This team is all about business. You've got the best GM in sports that's going to assemble zero setbacks. Whatever happens this offseason, it's going to be a ride. and full steam ahead to the draft. I shit you not. I've been covering the draft since May. I've got 200 graphics on scouting reports on guys. We're going to deep dive into this. I'm excited to share that with you guys. Make sure you tune in right after this. We are teaming up, squatting up, and talking about our favorite first-round draft targets for the Philadelphia Eagles. So tons and tons of NFL draft content coming. I probably have like 100,000 words on prospects, so be prepared for that.
Not in the show itself. That'd be too much show.
That would be a very long show. So, all right. Well, that's going to do it, guys. Again, thank you so much for following along with our coverage this year. Thanks for supporting the Eagles Pinpool Network. We are going to be continuing content from several shows. A few shows are going to drop off for the off season, but you guys go like the network, subscribe, give us 5-star ratings and reviews, and share it out with your friends. The season may be over, but the content keeps rolling along as we get ready for next season. So we hope you guys will hang with us throughout the summer months as well. Be sure you're following all of these guys on Twitter. David is at PHL Eagle News. Ryan is at Philly Sports PSA. Dives is at Mr. Crockpot. I am at Shane Half NFL. And we will catch you guys next time. Go Birds.